We continue. Question 22 is saying the diagram below shows the velocity time graph of a particle during a period of t seconds. The question is saying the diagram below shows the velocity time graph of a particle during a period of t seconds. So that is our velocity time graph. So the first question is saying calculate the acceleration of the particle in the first 10 seconds. So they want us to find the acceleration in the first 10 seconds. Now if you look at the velocity, it started from 30 and we are looking at 10 meters per second at 10 seconds. So this was a retardation because it started from a higher velocity and ended at a lower velocity. So we are going to say acceleration is equals to v minus u, where u is the initial velocity, the starting velocity, divided by the time taken. So we'll substitute. The final velocity was 10, the initial velocity was 30. When the signs are different, subtract, put the sign of the bigger number. So we are saying 30 minus 10 is 20, put the sign of the bigger number. So 10 minus 30 is negative 20. Divide both sides, divide the denominator into the numerator. You're going to find that our acceleration was negative 2 meters per square seconds. We continue. The value of t if it traveled 50 meters from the 20th second. I'll repeat that. The value of t if it traveled 50 meters from the 20th seconds. So they want us to find the time t in seconds. Now the diagram we have is a triangle. So we have to state the formula for the area of the triangle in order to find the distance. Our d is equals to half base times height. Where there's d, we'll substitute 50 meters. So we are saying d is equals to half base times height. Where there's distance, we'll substitute 50. And then the base is the difference in time between t seconds and the 20 seconds. So our base is t minus 20 and our height is 10 meters per second. So we are saying half into 10 will give us a 5. So from here we are going to expand. If you expand this, 5 times t will give us 5t. 5 times negative 20 will give us a negative 100. If you divide the whole equation by 5, you are going to end up with 10 minus 10 is equals to t minus 20. Transpose the negative 20, it will become a positive. So our time is equals to 30 seconds. That is our answer. We continue. The average speed of the particle for the whole journey. Calculate the average speed of the particle for the whole journey. Now we know that average speed is equals to distance over the time taken. Distance covered over time taken. Now total distance is the area of the whole velocity time graph. So when you look at the areas, we have a trapezium, we have a rectangle, and we have a triangle. So we have to find the whole area to calculate for the total distance. Let's do that. The area of a trapezium is half a plus b times the height, plus the area of the rectangle is L times b, plus the area of the triangle, which is half base times height. So if we substitute, we are going to find that we'll get our a will be 10, our b will be 30, our height will be 10 for the trapezium, plus for the area of the rectangle, we are going to get 10 and 10, that will give us a square, plus the area of the triangle. So if we solve that, we are going to find that half times 40 will give us a 200 times 10. Half times 40 will give us a 20 times 10 will give us a 200. 10 times 10 will give us 100. 100 times half will give us a 50. Add that, we are going to get 350. Therefore, total distance was 350. Our average speed is equals to distance over time. So we are going to substitute where the total distance is. We'll put a 350. Time taken was 30 seconds. Therefore, our average speed was 11 2/3. That is our answer. So our average speed was 11.7 meters per second. We continue. We have question 23. Question 23 is saying canes are arranged as shown below in some shops. So you find that they'll put the canes like that. Then the question is saying complete the table in the answer space. Complete the table in the answer space. They want us to find the total number of canes when you have the fourth row. If you complete it here, you are going to find that the number of canes will be 10. Let's continue. Write down a formula for the number of canes C in terms of n. So if you look at these canes, you find that they were adding natural numbers. Natural numbers are counting numbers. So when you multiply a number times its preceding number divided by 2, it will give you the number of canes. So our formula is C is equals to n, open your brackets, n plus 1 divided by 2. So it's like you're multiplying a number times the number which it follows divided by 2. So the number of canes C is equals to n, where n is the number of rows. So we have n, open your brackets, n plus 1, close your brackets, divided by 2. We continue. Part C is saying if there are 10 rows, how many canes are there? If there are 10 rows, how many canes are there? So we'll use the formula C is equals to n, open your brackets, n plus 1 divided by 2 to solve. Where there's n, since n is the number of rows, we are going to substitute a 10. So we are saying C is equals to 10, open your brackets, 10 plus 1 divided by 2. So if you multiply 10 times 10, you are going to get 100. 10 times 1 will give us a 10. So we have 110. Divide 2 into that, you are going to get 55 canes. So the number of canes in 10 rows is 55 canes. We continue. How many rows would be needed to display 78 canes? How many rows would be needed to display 78 canes? So for part C, they wanted us to find the number of canes. For part D, they want us to find the number of rows. So we are going to take it step by step. Where there's C, we are going to substitute 78. So from here, what are we going to do? We'll cross multiply. So if you multiply 2 times 78, you get a 156. Expand. If you multiply n times n, you get n squared. Multiply n times 1, you get n. From here, we are going to get n squared plus n is equals to 156. Transpose, take this 156 to the left, it will become a negative. So when you take it to the left, it will become a negative, and you find that you are going to get a quadratic expression. Our quadratic expression is n squared plus n minus 156 is equals to 0. Our a is the coefficient of n squared. Our b is the coefficient of n. And our c is that constant negative 156. So what we are supposed to do is to find two integers such that when we multiply them together, they'll give us a negative 156, but when we add them together, they'll give us a positive 1. So you find that if you multiply negative 12 times 13, it will give us a negative 156. But when you add negative 12 plus 13, you get a positive 1. So we'll rewrite this n as a sum using those factors. So we are saying n squared minus 12n plus 13n minus 156 is equals to 0. And then we are going to factorize by grouping terms. What is common between n squared and negative 12n? n. So we'll factorize the n out. What is common between 13n and negative 156? 13. Let's factorize that. So when we remove our n, we remain with n minus 12. When we remove a 13 here, we remain with n minus 12. So you find that we are going to have a common factor n minus 12. We'll group what has remained, n plus 13. So let's do that. So we get a common factor n minus 12, and then we'll group what has remained, n plus 13, equate it to 0. Then we'll solve for n. So our n minus 12 is equals to 0, or n plus 13 is equals to 0. We'll transpose the negative 12, it will become a positive. Transpose the positive 13, it will become a negative. So we'll say n is equals to 12, or n is equals to negative 13. So we'll reject the negative value and we'll use the positive one. Therefore, there are 12 rows needed so that 78 cans are displayed.